I'm already live. I'm already live. I hit the
All
button.
right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, I hit the fucking button. I hit the
Let's do
Fauci
it.
ouchie. We're here now. We're fucking here.
All
All
right.
right. Let's do it.
Let's do
I
it.
got
All right. Hey guys, we're back again. Live pod for Power Hour. We're a couple minutes late. We were talking about this, that, and the third, and we were a little
Let's do it.
we were wound up. So here we are. Hi Nick. Hi GP.
What's up?
What the fuck is going on with this market?
kind of seemed like the same shit just continued on from last week.
That simple.
Yeah, to me,
And oh,
I couldn't be more bullish. That's just me. I couldn't also be more frustrated and annoyed at the same time, right? Like it's like I see where it's going, I see where it's heading. Can you just get there already? Like, holy shit, it's time to start moving. But for whatever reason, it's not going lower, really. Um,
We're just
but
kind
it's literally
of
just
sloshing
sideways.
around.
Yeah, it's like it's stuck in the matrix and it's trying to figure out the blue pill and the red pill when it knows which one to take because it's already seen the matrix for 30 years, right? So it's waiting for that moment. I love what's setting up here across the board. I think we're going obviously much higher. The question is when, to me. Will it be, I think I asked the question last week or the week before, is what's going to be the narrative that gets us higher? And I will continue to ask that question because to me it feels like ever since January and the Fed said data dependent on inflation, we've just done this sideways kind of dance. And until we get a direction from the Fed, the sideways dance continues
Do
as
we
they
care about
rotate.
anything until 440 gets breached? Do we care?
Honestly, don't like.
yeah.
I
Do we
don't
care?
care because if my thesis is that we're going higher, lower prices are good entry points, right? Like, so if my thesis was that we're going lower, then yes, I would be like, yes, I would care. But I like none of this stuff matters, whether it's 440 or 430 or 420. Um, we're going higher, right? Let it chop, let it do what it's doing. We are sorry, I won't be so confident, but I'm fairly freaking confident that we are going higher and much higher.
Well, I brought up 440 because that's the 50
Yeah.
day, and then an undercut of the 9 weekly. You're basically in that 440 range, which would be the middle of the range we just broke out of. And it looks like we retested it. I mean, Friday to me, and you guys can correct me if you feel otherwise. Friday, I wasn't involved, but I was watching the market and I was cracking myself up because I was like, this shit's going to just bounce right back from the lows because it's the end of the month. All these funds got to put some money to work for June 1, baby. And then what happened? Boing. So I wasn't too bent out of shape over it, but I can understand someone who, bought maybe Thursday or, thought, oh, we're going higher from here for real. Didn't quite work out as well. Anyway. So that
Yeah,
low wick to me just looked like an opportunity.
yeah, it didn't feel like an opportunity when it was happening, but it was one of those moments that if you were looking at the chart, right? Like I think I even posted it on Friday. I was like, they're gonna take this motherfucker up green right by the end of the day. And sure enough, you had, of course, they waited to the last 10 to 15 minutes because they
Mm-hmm.
can't do it earlier anymore. It's too obvious, it's too much, but it was like this. If you saw it, it's the flow, right? You saw the flow going in. It hit 443, which was the highest OI for the week last week or for the month end or whatever you want to talk about on the put side. And boom, straight up bounce, and it was off to the races, right? So while we're waiting for direction, it's a daily flow conversation, it's a weekly flow conversation, and end of the month, yes. That's the thing that I don't think people realize is you have a positive month, your month has positive flows. You have a negative month, you have a negative flow balance. So when you had that moment on Friday looking at the markets, you're like, what is going on? Every uptick higher was immediately getting sold. Every uptick higher was immediately getting sold. So you start looking at some of the OI and stuff like that. I was like, oh, well, there's not a single stock that's got a single, not a single stock, but there was a ton of stocks that didn't have a single call in the money. I'm talking about Microsoft, right? This is a highly followed, highly traded name, but not a single call in the money. Something was not right in terms of the way of looking at things. It was and it hit that they all kind of hit at the same time, right? Like they hit the lowest kind of OI on puts, and it just went through. And I've been talking about this for a couple of years now. A lot more of our markets are driven by flow. There was a lot of stock replacements in 2022 and 2023 with long dated in the money or close to the money leaps and in calls that people. So a lot of this stuff is driven by flows until we get to a point where it's not flow driven, it's more fundamental driven. But right now it's all flows. And did you see the new products? I don't know. I'll ask you guys. Did you see the new products that they're releasing, which is an ETF that tracks the ETF that mimics 2x or 1x or 1.5x, right? Like it's or the other ETFs, which was here's an ETF that focuses on premium generation, call selling and put selling, premium generation. So they collect a dividend. So they created an ETF that sits on top of that trades that ETF. And you're like, are we getting into the second derivative of whatever this almost 2008, 2006 credit default swap, right? They just kept building products on top of products that were shittier and shittier and shittier, and then it unraveled. So that's stuck in the back
red flag for me. Is that a red flag for you?
It's stuck in the back of my head as a red flag for sure. And so my thesis when we started 2022, 2021, that we're on the verge of a breakout, but I think it'll be the final breakout for a really long time. And then we get our multi-year kind of sideways motion, your 2000 to 2013 type motion. And so that definitely raises the red flags when you have these, first of all, crappy products in the first place. And then you have another crappy product that sits on top of this crappy product, and it eventually spirals into this black hole. And so my radar is up. I don't think it plays out in 3 months or 2 months or 1 month or whatever, but it's something that I got stored in the back of my head that if we start getting to the levels that I think we're going to get to,
I can't wait for some of that.
You start to see weakness or big distribution, let's probably start to take notice. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say I can't wait for some of those crappy products to hit like Labu, 3x biotech ETF, get some of that crazy love on products on top of products. That's going to be the end of Duzio.
Yeah, and so people are just getting lazier too, right? Like people are like, oh, why would I buy anything else? Buy these ETFs or buy these products, right? Talking to friends and stuff. It's like, oh, well, this thing generates 8 to 10% dividend and it's been going up steadily, so this is perfect. And I'm like, we're going into more passiveness, right? Like in a market that's about to break out, people are not as interested. So there's a lot of things that are kind of sitting in the back of my head, but I don't think that materializes it in the near future.
Nick, did you see those products?
Yeah, I didn't, but I did read a headline from somebody that had tweeted something that was talking about that kind of stuff, which I was like, I guess it kind of makes sense. Sorry, my head was stuck. I was going to ask you a question. Do you think that like when we go into that period of like, let's say 2000, 2013, that coincide with like Bitcoin going into like a massive range like that as well?
So to me, Bitcoin is what gold is for boomers, right? That's what Bitcoin is to me. it's the digital gold. It's kind of how I see it. So what did gold do between 2000 and 2013? I don't know the answer to that, so I'm asking. I think it's just sideways or down, right?
From 2000 to 2013.
Yeah. Yeah, it like peaked after the collapse. No, 2000 to 2013. No, it kind of rose up, right? It kind of outperformed the rest of the market.
Yeah, 2013 was the decline, the beginning of the decline.
Yeah. So like crypto stuff, Bags probably has a better thought process behind it. I generally equate it to the digital store of value that actually has no real value to me.
You know, uh, just coincidentally, since we're talking about that time period, my first ever ETF I bought was during sort of 2009-ish time frame, and it was metals. I forgot which one it was, but
Okay.
I bought it through my bank at the time. I was like, the economy sucks. We're going to need gold and silver like a true boomer. I'm not. And yeah, that was a pretty good trade for about a year and a half.
Yeah, and you could see some of that unfolding if it if that similar kind of period materializes. You know,
All in
Nick,
Bitcoin.
history rhymes but does not repeat. So um like a version of that, whatever that will. And what I've learned over the last at least 3 years or so is I don't know what to expect short term, right? Like the month, 2 months out, but longer term, uh, it's easier to see, right?
There you go, Nick. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see how shitty Netflix is, Nick? Now,
Uh,
do you see
I
it?
know.
Do you
I
see it?
I added again this morning, basically versus right here. So
Like
I don't know.
it is the
It's not like,
shittiest bullish chart on the planet. It's like literally the worst. It and I've been saying this for years, it trades like garbage, right? But overall theme of Netflix is up and to the right.
yeah.
But like week to week, day to day trading, it is just miserable. I don't understand how this stock, being the first to bottom in the tech space in 2022, can't even try to tag all-time highs. But anyway, I digress.
Do we want to start a shorts um for our stock quarterly stock pick? We can start a short. I'll go first.
Oh, yeah.
But
Netflix.
yeah, it's a double
Nick
rounding top
smiled
off.
underneath that beard. I saw it. I saw it, Nick. You fuck you.
I mean, I own it, so I hope you're wrong.
Of course you do. I hope I'm wrong too. I, I'm not ready to take Netflix. If you put a gun to my head right now, I would short Netflix though.
I don't know. I'm wildly bullish too. I'm with you, GP. Like I think when I kind of see stuff happening, like especially like Friday, I think that there's more games that are played to suppress price than there are to pump price. And
That's
like,
that premium selling product that we just talked about.
yeah, because it's like if you're a big money fund and you're wanting to get involved in XYZ and you have the money to push XYZ to wherever the fuck you want, like you want price suppressed as long as you possibly can. So like I was talking to, I don't know, I feel like we're kind of in a moment of like kind of chaos where money's just moving all around and there's not like nothing's really kind of like settled.
A moment
It's
of
kind of
chaos.
how I kind of feel, but um
There
yeah,
are some things that are
kind
moving.
of confused.
Look,
I think
ultimately, First Solar is doing really well, and NVIDIA, right? Two of the strongest names in the market at this point.
Fucking
So
Nvidia, man.
he's about to run again.
But everything out, like a lot of things are in dispersion trades and stuff like it. Bottom of the range, top of the range, bottom of the range, top of the range. Look at W.
I mean, I've never seen Cisco look so good in all my life.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm talking about NVIDIA.
Yeah. But
W.
even Netflix, right? As bad as it trades, it's nowhere close to breaking down. And Netflix is the original Tesla. The uglier the chart looks, the more likely it's going to have a massive bounce. It's like literally the written rule. If it's got a bull flag or if it's setting up 3 weeks tight, Nick, you got to short it. It's literally how Netflix has worked for so long. Anyway, these are the things with low floaters, right? On top of that, Nick, not only can you sell premium, but you can control price pretty well. It trades 2 to 3 million shares. It is a low floater by every definition on the planet. On top of being a $250 billion company, it's a low floater.
Sorry, Dennis. I didn't see you there. Hi. I said hi to Jason. Didn't want you to think I missed you. What about Roaring Kitty is back? Did you see that stake he put in old GME?
I
Or
call bullshit.
supposedly put in.
Where the hell did this guy get 200 million from?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I call crap, but I don't care either. So
I have no idea.
I'm not involved in any way.
After the gap up, it's down bigly today, really.
Yeah, I don't
It
know why
jumped
this stock
80%,
isn't
but
down.
it's lost. If you got it on the pump, you're down 25% already.
Yeah, I just saw some ridiculous stuff about him going to jail for being a pump and dumper. And I'm like, he's posting memes and his position. That is the antithesis of being a pump and dump. He's literally telling you what he's got.
Well,
Like,
he's going to get him if he's putting rocket emojis with his posts.
that's what he wants. We do it all the time. Going higher, rocket emoji. I don't see anything wrong with it.
In one man's opinion.
I stay away from anything that is 3, 4, 500% IV. It is gonna be a losing trade over time.
AMC got a little pump too. Nick, you playing any of these memes?
No, I'm not. I mean, if I was purely day trading, sure, I'd totally be down. But I still think that they're a distraction from like what's really taking place, and I'd rather be sized right, even smaller positions on, and just kind of sit through this. I don't really. Yeah, that's just kind of my take on it.
What would you have done this morning when you saw GME up 80+% on the open?
You short that. As a day trader, you short that.
Yeah, you could off the open.
But tight. You keep it tight because you know you're gonna get smoked out, right?
Yeah, my entry would have never triggered because basically I would have needed price to close under 28. So generally with gaps, like I've kind of talked about in the past, I pretty much mold everything around the first 60-minute range. And so like, yeah, I would have had to have sat down this morning feeling pretty fucking pro to be like, all right, I'm gonna throw a short off the open. Just like I just would have had to feel that good, I think, or been on a streak. Where other than that, like again, like I'd be waiting for the first 60-minute range to close, and it hasn't taken out the first 60-minute low, and it's just basically chopping sideways. So like if the trade for me here, at least from a day trading perspective, would be if we start to see weakness continue in the indices and GME continues down from here, because it's basically like if you're looking at like a 15-minute chart, it's like bear flagging, but it's also basing sideways too. So it's like if we start to see some strength come into the indices, it might not be a bad long entry either, kind of through 30, I don't know, 175, 32-ish.
Short against that recent pivot of 42.35 would have been like technically the place where I would have been. That was
Sure.
that was kind of the double top era of the
Oh yeah, I see that.
right. So
Okay, sorry,
the
sorry.
fact that it opened below that, you were already kind of hesitant, like for a gap, for something to gap up this much and not. We've talked about this a lot of times as well, right? Like if you're gonna show strength, use strength over pivots, right? This is how that you don't open under pivots. So when you open under pivots, you can reliably take that short, and if you get stopped out, it's a $2 loss
Yeah.
versus however much it can go down, right? So um that's where I would have tried to short it, but like I said, I have no. They're buying 120 the 128 strike price calls for next week. Literally, I have no desire. This is a flow game, and we don't have access to the right information in flow, so I don't want to. I have no desire to play this.
What do you have desire to play other than Netflix, GP?
Oh,
More
Tesla.
more Tesla.
Tesla coin. So like I've been building a position in CONL.
CONL.
Yeah, it's just a levered
Oh, right on.
it's just a levered coin,
Got it.
right? And so these are the same crappy products that are creating the ETFs on top of ETF, the Granite stuff. So this is going to be a very short-term trade, but I like what coin is doing here, and I'm using CONL as leverage versus options, right? So
Yes.
I've just been building a position over the last week here because I think coin is about to bust a move over the next few weeks, few months, or whatever it is.
Again, summertime love, just like last year.
Yeah.
Have a little
I like the
summertime
setup here.
swoon, a little sideways, and boom.
So like in this environment, the less options and stuff you do, the more commons and maybe these levered products you do, you're probably going to be better off because the options are right now designed to, as you saw on Friday, screw you both ways.
Take your money.
Yes.
I like Coin a lot. I like Mister also.
Monster.
Mr. Micro Strategy.
Monster.
Why don't you just like Bitcoin then?
Well,
Mint?
what I don't understand is
I appreciate them.
why does MicroStrategy always trade at a premium to coin? Like every time I see like MicroStrategy up like 100 points, 75 points, for some reason coins like close to being red.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
'Cause they're not a miner, so I don't understand it at all. The only platform you really have to trade Bitcoin outside of the ETFs now is Coinbase or Hood.
Yeah.
So from the beginning of 2003, MicroStrategies has solidly outperformed the old coinage.
Yeah, like by a long shot.
How about Bitcoin? Let's put old Bitcoin in there. Wow. There you go.
Yeah, it
Why?
trades at a premium. I don't know why. I can't understand why either, but it trades at a monster premium.
Huh. Well, let's just get long MicroStrategies.
What do they do even other than him owning a shit ton of Bitcoin?
They lose money in business, as
They
they've
what?
been doing for 20 years.
They lose money in business,
Sure.
he
Yes.
said,
They
allegedly.
are a professional shitty business.
Hi, Randy. The cake was last week for my birthday. ASTS from
Nick, you were talking about this, no?
ASTS.
I think I tweeted something about it because I had a massive bar. It looks good.
Did it have like a 70% day?
Look at that.
Yeah.
What is going on with this? Space Mobile.
Oh gosh. Space and mobile. Are those the two new buzzwords?
It's backed by AT&T and Verizon. Broadband.
Those companies are doing really well, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's got a huge pump up on it, but I don't know why. I don't know, Alex. I'm not trying to be facetious. I don't know enough about what's going on here. I mean,
I think you set your stop at like $4 and forget about it.
This looks like a SPAC. This is a SPAC, isn't it?
I don't know.
Uh, I think when I saw it, it
It's
was
down
like,
and to the right though, and I don't like that. Anyway,
My dad used to work in Midland, Texas. That's where this company is based out of. He worked on the pipeline in
XOM,
Texas Eastern.
the Nest ask. Um, uh, let it take out the highs. It's the same thing we said last week, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not involved. I wouldn't be involved here personally.
Yeah, it was a SPAC. It IPO'd
ASDS
this
was a
SPAC.
SPAC. Okay.
That's your double whammy for me.
Jason said I'm buying ASTS at 450 in a couple weeks. Yeah, that's probably what'll happen. Yeah.
450.
Most likely, Jason's going to buy more Tesla and be more frustrated.
I mean, who's not frustrated with Tesla?
Yeah.
Shorts are pissed, longs are pissed.
It's under the 200-day moving average. If it looks bullish, you should short it. It's
Shitty
Nick, you
stock.
know that.
Yeah.
Any setup under the 200-day moving average is set up for failure, no matter how bullish it looks, until we get over that area. Don't know when that's going to happen.
Peace out, Jason. Thanks for stopping in.
I have a feeling that we're gonna. I think Tesla's about ready to rip.
How hard is it going to rip, Nick?
Like fucking hard because I
Is it
feel
going to
like
rip up to 300 for me?
I 300. I think it'll go to 260, 270.
Ooh, talk to me, Daddy.
The reason I think that is just because like I think we're gonna be looking at this chart being like how many times did this thing just kind of chill right above the 50-day when you could have just bought the lows every time, sat on it, and then watched it rip. I mean, it definitely could roll over, but that's why I was like, I threw a will a while back, like, dude, just set your fucking stop at 169 and forget about like just stop looking at it.
It's a bear flag.
I'm going to just roll it all into ASTS.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It's bear flagging into the massive gap, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. It trades like utter garbage. So you can say, like long term, I agree with you, Nick. I think it's gonna rip higher.
Yeah.
It's not a question of that, but short term, no one has a clue.
No.
To be real, because this is one of the few names in 2024 on every gap up, it's red. Every gap down, it's super red. Every flat day, it's super red. And somehow it's still outperforming the Qs in the last month and a half. No clue how it does it, but it does it.
Yeah, it's freaking bizarre. I don't know.
Dude, it had a 18% move higher in a single day and has done nothing but gap down and turn red every single day.
Yeah.
It's 4 weeks of just that. You get a small pop, in come the put buyers or the call sellers, and goes right by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Case in point today. It was on the verge of clearing that 82 today, and then in came this massive put buyer of 170 puts for the week, 13 or 14,000 of them in a single purchase, and it hasn't seen green since.
China's not really cooperating the last couple days either.
What is though? That's the better question. I would say what's actually working right now.
Well, I was
I
just
don't
going to
think
say, when was the last time China cooperated with shit, right? So,
Like outside of NVIDIA, what's actually
2021.
working?
Moderna's working.
mRNA.
I mean, we
Didn't
pulled,
that also pull back like 20 points yet last week?
Get
We
your
did.
Fauci ouchie.
it's sitting on the 20-day right now. We had a nice bounce today.
Come on, Nick, right here. Get that
I know.
shot, brother.
I know. I'm thinking like I think your next entry is either down here versus the 20-day, or you're buying through 170. Like if you're like a swing trader.
But dude, this literally just had a 30-point move down in 3 days. Like this is to me not the definition of working when you have a 20% move down. Like literally 3 days. And that is literally across the board on so many names that do look good on the larger time frames, but you're getting these 15, 20% moves in a couple of days. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Shaking the
Can we
tree.
say, I'm gonna say software has bottomed. Anyone on board with me?
Yes, I am.
I'm not. I don't think.
So, and here's my thing: CRM always reports at the wrong time, and when they have that happen, well, it could still go a little bit lower in GP, but yeah, I kind of like the IGV in this
It's the
area.
IGV. I said software, not CRM, right?
Well, CRM is software.
No, Microsoft is the largest holding in IGV.
I
The
understand.
largest.
I'm not saying CRM is the largest. The correlation I'm making is CRM always has the wrong time to report for whatever reason is happening in the world,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and it shits the bed, and then it needs to churn a little bit down there where it shit the bed, and then it'll usually turn back up. So yes, I'm with you on IGV because of what CRM did last week.
Yeah, and it wasn't just CRM. It was Snow. It was MDB, which
Oh,
got
yeah, throw a dart. Yeah, pick one.
yeah, like literally. I think outside of Palantir and what was the other IGB name? So I saw.
Adobe. I mean, look at
No,
that.
there's two that did really well compared to
Oh, you're
software.
talking about what did well. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and Palantir was one of them, and what was the other one? Why am I blanking? I don't remember right now, but if I do, I'll let you know. But oh, Monday, Mandy.
Mandy. I'm sure Asana's been like crap too. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just floundering around, waiting to find a new bottom. Way to go, Dustin. Alex says solar's working. I haven't looked at solar. Let's look at the old tan. Yeah, I mean, maybe a little frying pan bottom action there.
I think he meant to say first solar is working.
Pay C. That's pay X. Pay C.
I'm not sure why.
Paycom. Yeah, I would probably look elsewhere. I mean, yeah, if you're froggy, risk it against that double bottom low, but I wouldn't let this take me for a ride too much further down if it were me. Um, First solar. Man, when it goes, it goes.
Yes,
When it
just
goes, it
fantastic.
goes.
But it's also just starting, in my opinion. I don't like this is the expansion candle.
Retail apparel has been great, except Lulu and Nike. Asim, are those the two largest pieces in retail apparel? I think so.
Luxury retail?
Retail apparel,
Yeah.
like
Luxury
TPR.
retail apparel? Because
What
that's
is
what
TPR?
Foot
Tapestry. That doesn't look bad.
Locker looks like garbage.
TPR, you think looks like garbage?
Foot Locker, FL?
Oh, no, he said TPR is he's liking it right now. I think it looks pretty good right now. You got a pretty defined risk below 43 and you're out. You can probably run to 48, 49.
There's that 50 and it's gone.
I mean, I'm not opposed to making close to 10% on a trade. Randy Seawan,
I don't see
Clear
accumulation.
Water Analytics. Randy, you want to tell me what you like about this? No, Randy. Randy. Maybe he's on tape delay.
I only see like 14 monthly candles. You know what that means?
Not interested.
Yup.
Oh,
I think one of these pods we're gonna have to switch roles. So like I'll be GP one day, or I'll be Nick one day, and then one of you guys be me. We'll just answer the way we think the other person would.
hey,
Maybe we
what
could do
do you
that on
think?
like next year for like April Fools or something. Just completely throw everybody off.
So which one are you going to be the wet blanket?
Oh,
Because
we
that's
we
me.
we got a long
I
time.
shit optimism.
What'd you say, Nick?
I shit optimism.
Rainbow sprinkles.
Hey, what do
Randy's
you
an
think of the dollar here?
analytical person. What I think of the dollar?
Yeah, like the DXY.
GP?
What I've learned about the dollar is I don't know anything about the dollar. Because it's macro related and I don't give two shits. It has looked bearish for a really long time, yet it is doing what Bags is showing on this chart. Absolutely nothing. Just sideways. I think the dollar's going down. I've been thinking the dollar's going down since it topped. And if it's literally just this, it's like flat line. It's like, yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts about any commodities and any macro related trades because there's too much, right? Everyone thinks oil. Did you see the amount of posts that oil is bullish, and then we have today's bar after the OPEC cuts? You Bags, what do you think about the dollar?
We're in the range as we've been in, like you said. Uh, you know, lower high, lower high, lower high. I don't know. RSI keeps trending further down. There's nothing right now that makes me think that this breaks above this prior high right here, Nick. Just there's nothing that would
Yeah,
indicate to me that that's the case. A lot can change in a few hours or a couple days, but I would be surprised if it didn't come back in toward the lower part of this range at some point in the near future.
yeah,
Every,
okay. We're
every time
agreeing.
it's dipped back in, it's at least come down to here.
Yeah.
So I would expect it somewhere in the 101s.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar. I mean, just on the daily, it looks like it's starting to crack here. So, um,
Oh, it's cracking for sure.
yeah, which would be bullish for the overall market.
Well, one would think,
Yeah,
right? One would think it depends why maybe the dollar got weaker, right? Don't want to speculate or presume what might make that happen, but yeah, if it just naturally takes its course down into the 101s, yeah, that would be bullish for equities as a whole.
NVDA looks like it's going to go out on. Oh, it's not going to make highs today, but it sure looked like it was going to run for it.
Nvidia is freaking ridiculous. I know it's like the Nvidia show.
Oh. Yeah, dude, I'm incredibly bullish too. Like, I think we're just kind of chopping around buying time, and I think I don't know. Oh man, there goes the GameStop right there.
What just happened?
It just rolled. So I took out the lows of
Yeah,
that. Now it's just like the bear.
there she goes. Wonder if
Something about the
maybe
SEC reviewing call options or something?
Like, how do you hold a long? Like, how do you hold a? Okay, great. Let's just say you chased it and you're long at like between 15 and $20. Dude, how the fuck do you hold a sell off from 40 down to 27? Like, I'm not like what kind of how do you I don't know. You've got to have some incredible conviction on a short squeeze to like I don't know. It's just not my kind of trade, I guess.
It's not, right? Like it's a gamble ultimately, and there's no probability to any of this stuff. So it's a blind gamble. So that's not a position for me. This is how I see it, right? It's not a position where I'd want to take that shot overnight. If you're doing day trading, that's a different story, but it's a gamble, and you're gambling it on a meme called Roaring Kitty.
Oh, Wall Street Journal just reported E-Trade is considering removing Roaring Kitty from its platform over concerns about possible manipulation of.
Literally, that is the stock market. This is just
Yeah, no
like literally you have people like Ackman who come out and be like, I have a position in Chipotle and it pops 20%.
This
Yeah.
is the problem that we had in 2021 with this whole meme stock saga, right? There's one set of rules for the retail investor, and there's a whole another set of rules for the institutional investor. And that anyone who is an everyday person, that is going to grate you very much so, right? Like you're going to be pissed about that. Whether you're involved or not, it's not right.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying, Ackman or anybody else,
Did anybody get on the
Ackman's
TV?
really easy because he was talking about hell during the pandemic, right? Like, and had his short position on, which profited him
But he
great.
covered his short as he's talking about hell. Literally the next day he was like, hey, I covered my short and I went long in the markets. Like
That's all he had to
literally.
do, though. He only needed to be in one day, right? That's the point.
Yes.
That's the point that I'm making is, nobody's stopping Bill Ackman from trading as much money as he wants, but now Roaring Kitty is using E-Trade to have access to the markets, and now E-Trade's like, nope, we're not going to let you do that.
No.
That's just bullshit. It's a double standard.
Oh, it's a forever double standard, right? Like that's the entire concept of a Bloomberg terminal and them getting information like 10 to 15 seconds, 20 seconds, minute before us is all about double standards. Like if you I'll go back to Netflix as my example. Netflix 1 to 5 seconds into their earnings report drops 80 points in 2022. Remember I was talking about this? I think we were on live after one of the Netflix earnings. Literally within 10 to 15 seconds of reporting earnings at 4 p.m., it was down 80, 90 points. And you're like, how? How is it possible to read a 13-page report and drop it 90 points in 15 seconds?
It's not. It's not. It's not.
But we know this. So this is why I don't get involved in this stuff. Like this doesn't end well ever for retail. You may get a couple wins here and there, but you're going to lose long term.
Just keep you playing the game long enough to lose more. Right?
It's like blackjack, right?
Like here's a win. Here's a win. Oh, now we're gonna make you lose. Now we're gonna make you lose. Okay, you can win. 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 Now give it all back.
Yep.
I think historically, when you found an edge, when you found like whatever, when you found an edge in the market, you kind of adopted the belief that like the market's not big enough to handle your edge or your secret. So like you more or less kept it to yourself and like your people. And so like the issue with Roaring Kitty is that like this is kind of it's loud and arrogant, and I think that's why it's drumming or getting the attention. I mean, obviously we're in the age of the information age and social media and everything, but I don't know. The fact that like he has the following, all the shit on Reddit, like I think that it's just, and then like of course it was all the like fuck Wall Street, like diamond hands and all that kind of bullshit. It's like there are going to be people that like do well and crush, but there's going to be there always is. I guess it doesn't really matter, but there's going to
Well,
be
Wall
some.
Street loves the diamond hand bullshit because, like, again, at the end of the day, over the long course of this, like they're going to make more money off of your stupid trades than you are, right? Like yes, please stay longer than you should, please, please, please. Anyway, liking Mickey D's, a sim says, back to the regularly scheduled program, McDonald's. What do you guys think about McDonald's?
I don't know. I'm watching Netflix pop at the end of the day, like every day. Sorry, hold on. Let me go look at McDonald's.
I mean, off of the 200 weekly.
I was gonna say the monthly looks phenomenal, but
Yeah, I mean, if this were my trade, I think you could use 250 as your exit point.
McDonald's?
Yeah.
Are we long or short this?
He said he likes the way it looks. I don't necessarily like the way it looks, but I think you can play it versus 250.
This is a short, in my opinion.
It's a short. All right, there you
Yeah.
go.
Like it's a
Why
mean
do you say
reversion
it's a
bounce
short?
here. Huh?
Why do you think it's a short? It's bouncing off the 200 weekly and the 50 monthly.
Exactly where you'd expect it to bounce, but ultimately the longer term here is, in my opinion, a short. You have, if you go to the monthly and you expand out, it's red volume, red volume, red volume, and it's increasing. Right? It's essentially a double top. The red volume's increasing. So it may bounce here, you may get a reversion, but this to me is going to pull even lower from here. It's broken the massive up channel from 2020, and then retested it again. It's rejected that massive. This is on the weekly and monthly timeframes. So larger timeframes are breaking down. So this to me is a short-term bounce for a longer term short.
sorry,
Nick?
I thought NVIDIA was gonna go out at highs. I guess it's still got what 10 minutes, but
Yeah,
5.
we get a little distracted towards the end because all these things are randomly moving. So
Everything,
Oh,
it's all happening.
yes, we do nothing for the whole day and we get the last 5 minutes of beauty.
Boom, boom, boom. Pop, pop, pop.
I think there's a
Yes.
real lesson. I think there's
Look
a
at
real
Netflix, last 5 minutes. Oh, you are looking at it.
It's
See
on the
what I mean?
screen, jackass.
I think for the guys that are getting chopped up and the traders out there, I think there's a pretty valuable lesson in that though. Like be sized right and understand that like the morning is typically amateur hour. Like the real money is coming in the afternoons, and the closes are more important to me, or I think more important than the opens. So
Yeah, I think for active traders though, right, the first 30 minutes of trade and the last 30 minutes of trade is probably the most important time of the day, right? Like you got an hour out of your day that you should have seat time.
yeah,
Yeah, well, it's getting even more, I think, bifurcated. It's literally like 10 a.m. hits and jack and shit are happening for the next 3 hours and 50 minutes. And then 3:45 hits and the world just completely changes, right? And it's like, wait, what have you been doing for the last 5 hours?
Jack and shit.
Besides just dying a miserable death. And so it used to be like the first hour and the last hour of trading, Nick. I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago, right?
yeah.
And it's slowly gotten to like the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes.
Hey Nick, real quick, what did you think about McDonald's?
McDonald's. I'm kind of with you. Like on the monthly, I think it looked like a pretty low risk entry here. I would just have my stop under last week's low, so I'd have my stop around let's say
249.
Um, I think that if it does hold here, and it claws its way back up to 300, I think your next measured move or your next target would be 350. How long it takes to get there and do that, I couldn't tell you though.
Yeah, I think you can let it break last week's low before I would punch my exit on that guy. I
So
kind of
think
like the
that's-
power hour time slot though, because there's so
Yeah.
much happening in those last 15 minutes that we're kind of all over the place.
Yeah. That's so McDonald is a bearish monthly MACD on the monthly, a bearish monthly MACD on the weekly. Sorry, not monthly,
Below
weekly
the
MACD.
Ichimoku on the
So
weekly.
there's multiple time frame breakdown in this stock. So you're going to need a lot of repair or a big bounce for this to repair in a meaningful way. Otherwise, this to me is still a short. I will stay on that high hill horse, whatever you want to call
GP is choosing McDonald's for his quarterly short.
it. No, man, it trades so slow. We only have a
God, those
month.
wicks on the Q. Oh my god, those wicks are so big.
Dude, look at that. Qs are green again magically on day at
I went green too.
3:59 p.m.
Oh my god. No.
I went green too.
Love it.
They literally rinse and repeated Friday yet again. It's
Yeah.
bad. Wow. Just wow. Look at that candle at the close.
This is like the second email I've gotten from Schwab to remind me to vote on my Tesla annual meeting.
Do it.
So I could tell him not to give Elon that money.
Give him the money.
If you are holding a stock position, you are a dumbass. Right. Vote to say no, but you should also sell your position at that point if he loses.
Agreed.
I don't
Yeah.
think he goes
XBI
anywhere.
popped. I was talking. Thanks, Randy. I was talking bullshit about the old meds. It popped a little bit. Randy, come on. Give me a break, Randall. I'm still my same on crypto. Nothing has changed since the last time we talked, in my opinion.
So here's another one that I will ask you guys. Do you think it's time for Rivian to participate in a more meaningful conversation in the EV space? They're going to be the clear number, in my opinion, of course, the clear number two winners in the EV space when it's all said and done.
Look at
So-
GM's chart, GP.
Yeah, GM.
Do I have to?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
It looks
I know the chart is, but I just don't like GM.
for sure.
So here's the thing, GP, and we can get back to GM in just a second.
yeah.
I think you're right from a United States, North American production side of electrified vehicles that Rivian probably is next in line to Tesla. But I still can't shake, and this is me just thinking through this live with you guys, why the big three, right, have pretty much shelved all electrification efforts and gone to a hybrid model, which I don't think is a bad idea. I don't know. You guys know I like Rivian. I like the trucks. I see a lot of them, but I don't know what the next step is in automobiles and where we get there. Ultimately, at some point we're going to get off of gasoline.
Yeah, bro, we're gonna be flying soon.
At some point, I don't know when that's going to be. At some point, we're going to get off that. And now you're seeing electrified battery pack lawnmowers, right? Like people are chomping at the bit to get these electrified, vehicles of whatever kind, whether they're off-road vehicles or mowers or what have you. I don't know how quickly that's going to translate into mass adoption of automobiles, though. So I don't know.
So in regards to GM and Ford, why I think they're swapping over is because they tried, they failed, right? Like they weren't able to get to profitability. They were sinking deeper into their hole, and they're got out. They're going back to what works for them and what's more profitable. Rivian,
I don't think they really tried though. I can't say
no, they didn't. Sorry,
one year model of the Ford Lightning isn't really trying, right?
yeah,
Uh,
that's been my whole point for a really long time, which is Tesla had 10 years to get, or what, yeah, 11 years to get to the Model 3. They suffered for 11 years to get to that point, but this was their business, their EVs, right? So they're given the leeway, whereas a GM and a Ford that are cash cows and everything but EV are not afforded the same runway for electric. And you're like, oh, well, we're going to do no, man, there are no shortcuts. Tesla has put all their patents out there and they still can't get their shit together.
so I also
It's
think
there's
that
no
there
shortcuts in this world, in my opinion. So I think they tried the shortcut method. They failed. Their range sucks. Their pricing sucks. So they're out of the game. And maybe they end up buying one of these EV makers that
well, hear me out.
gives them
I mean,
that profit.
we can go on at length about how piss poor we think the leadership of Ford, GM, and Stellantis are, right? Like they've proven historically that
Yep.
it's been a clown show, right? However, having moved away from a major population center into a much more rural environment, um, adopting to an EV, even if I wanted to, isn't a viable thing for me right now.
Why would you say that? Are there no superchargers? Are there no charging stations?
There is just a couple of charging stations nearby. Um, there's no, there isn't the infrastructure outside of these major population centers to incentivize people to want to have to buy these types of vehicles. And this isn't a red state or blue state thing. It's just population. And with
Oh, of
more
course, it's always
population,
economics.
with population, you have much more resources to do that type of thing. I just think there is a lot of rural America, and cracking into that is less profitable than these major population centers. So to knock the F-150 off, right, which is the best selling truck in America for, I don't know, 50 years, it's going to take a lot for EVs to really make that push. And yeah, being in Georgia, I saw a lot of Rivians, and there is a Rivian plant in Georgia, which makes sense. But um, there's a lot of opportunities to charge those. There's a lot of opportunity to service those when needed. Um, the rest of America is not there yet, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know what that time frame is. I still like Rivian. I still think Rivian can turn it around, and I hope they do become that next layer underneath Tesla for the EV market. But I don't know what that time frame is. Living here for the last what 8 or 9 months now has really changed my perspective on just how I view things than when I was in my bubble in Georgia, right? In my fish tank in Georgia. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I know the rural part, the bifurcation between rural and like populous America is pretty wild. So it's going to take a long time to get those people who are not close to EVs and stuff like that. And that I was literally just talking to a friend about that. I was like, people talk about Tesla's lack of growth, and I agree with it. They get much more growth if Elon, and I think he's trying to balance his cost, production, and all that other stuff, but he puts an actual 400-mile range car out there that people can do day to day. You see the next level of adoption, because people will be like, okay, well, this is not too bad. I can do most of my road trips and then just come home and charge or whatever, right? Like, but when you're at like 200, 250, it's a lot harder to do when you're in the rural parts. Easy to do in the city part. So like, I was just talking to my uncle about it. It's like, I'm pretty sure Tesla could have put 100 kilowatt battery in their Model Y, but there was a battery shortage, right? So does it make sense to give someone 250 kilowatts, 250-mile range and sell a million cars, or give them 400-mile range and only sell $300,000 cars, because they can only produce the number of kilowatts, so they divide that by I'm sure there's some logistics stuff around it, but I think that's the big thing that gets EVs to the next level, which is range expansion, right?
Sure.
If your car only gets you 300 miles on the tank, but all of a sudden electric car gets you 500, 400, whatever, you're like, oh, okay, that's a trade-off I'm willing to work with.
Yeah. I think yeah, there's nothing I can repeat that I didn't already just say,
Yeah.
really. Nick, what do you think about electrified vehicles?
I mean, I think Tesla is just kind of, if we're talking about cars in particular, I think we're just following kind of like the Apple blueprint or game plan, where it was like, when the iPhone or the iPod came out, like it's just going to be year after year, there's going to be more updates and better this and better that to come out. I think is all I kind of think about it. I would say that when electric does far exceed the range of gas, I think we'll see like a massive change for sure. Like that, I never really thought about that, but in thinking about it, I'm like, that'd be a big shift. I actually I've seen the Cybertruck out now several times, but I wasn't up real close. And when I ran to lunch today, I drove by one and I was just like, dude, I don't, I don't know. I wasn't impressed, but I don't know.
Yeah, but that's so if you're gonna pay more money for a lesser product when you're comparing to gas, and I don't think it's a fair comparison, but it is what it is, right? People compare what they have to what they're getting. If
Yeah,
you're paying more money for something that's going to give you a underwhelming result, even though the overall experience is potentially the same or better, depending on who you
yeah,
talk to, um, it's going to be hard to get anyone to convert, right? So you have to have some, and this is not just cars, it's in anything, right? Like if I don't know, if you switch from cable to fiber optics, but fiber optics is more secure, it's better, all that stuff, but it's half the speed of your cable modem, you think you're going to switch? Probably not.
So come back to what I was. I don't think that it's an issue with people wanting to adopt. I mean, I I saw guys ordering like the zero turn Evo or Ego mower from freaking Lowe's the other day, and that thing's got to have like 6 or 8 batteries in it, and there's huge brick batteries that you put down in this zero turn mower. That mower is like $6,000, right? So what it's not for me to say, but where I live, I don't think people are afraid of being electrified. It's like how convenient is it for me to electrify, right? Like if I have to carry a lot of gas out to my mower, then maybe 6 or 8 batteries isn't a big of a deal. But if I can't get my vehicle off the road, or once I'm at home, I can't do anything but a trickle charge to get my truck or car going, then that's a bigger deal. I think it's just the practicality of the electrified vehicles as opposed to not wanting to be an electrified vehicle. Anyway, we're out of time. I got to run, but
Yeah.
guys, thanks for hopping on this thing again, and hey, thanks to everybody for watching. We always appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed this one. We hope this was something that you got a little bit of anything out of.
And we'll be back next Monday, same time. We are now switching, right? Moving forward.
3 p.m. Eastern time every Monday. We're going to try to hit that as often as we can. I think we've all got a little PTO coming up here in the next few weeks too, but we'll let everybody know what's going on there. But yeah, next Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, we'll get you in Power Hour.